and that meal was, an extended meal where I'm like taking my time eating food, I could probably get through a couple of these. If I was eating food along with it, and just some other stuff.
I feel like it'd be the opposite for me. I feel like the
Yeah.
Great Lakes one, I could get through a couple of them.
I can get through a couple of those just sitting
in general,
sitting on the toilet.
I feel like there it is, everybody. That's the intro to the show. Welcome to the Malting Hour. This week we're celebrating St. Patrick's Day. This is episode 106 of the Malting Hour.
What's the haps on the hops? Got yeast, that's beast. This the Malting Hour where we talk about our drink and tell you what we think every other week. And if we get drunk, well, we might slur our speech. Got the gift of gab, the friends you wish you had. Join us for a drink, join us for a laugh. Time is never wasted, where you getting wasted. The Malting Hour here, people take your places. People take your places. People take your home.
Welcome to the Malting Hour. I am one of your hosts, Tony Golick, joined always with
Brandon Winninger.
And making his first St. Patrick's Day episode, or St. Patrick's Day beer, or St. Patrick's inspired beer episode debut,
Dan. Thanks for having me, gents.
Hey, Dan, welcome back, man. I feel like it's been a while since you have been around.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember Clark?
What's a Clark?
Shout out to Clark, who was
Griswold.
Yeah, that guy. Oh, Clark's a busy guy. I wish
hockey dad.
I wish the listeners, by the way, could see how my screen froze with you, Brandon, because you did like this big laugh with the mug in your hand, and it was perfect. Oh God, I wish that could be the picture of this episode.
My biggest issue with this platform is like how shitty both of you guys look. Like, not all the time, but like
we just look like shitty all the time.
It goes in and out. But I went back and like I used the post production on here, and like the video is immaculate. It's really nice.
That's good.
I just wish it was like that when it was live.
So if we ever decide to go back to posting some random video stuff, you could do it if we do this.
Yeah. Which I think I'll start doing with some of these. The only hard part is finding, I'd have to go and listen. I don't have to listen to the entire episode, but like what you edit versus like what I would find here. Although like it could be like a secret gem uncut thing that I could pull out of here. Yeah.
Have you guys seen that movie? I've never seen it.
Heard it was okay.
What movie?
Uncut Gems.
No.
With Adam Sandler.
Yeah. By the way, if I'm not into promoting other podcasts, but have you guys ever listened to Fly on the Wall with Dana Carvey and David Spade?
I haven't, and I meant to because
great podcast.
They were on the Stern Show promoting it, I think, and I meant to add that to my list, and I forgot to.
It's great. Yeah, I listened to it in between all the other podcasts. But anyways, welcome everybody. It's the Malting Hour, and it's March, so you know what that means. We're doing a
March Madness.
That, and we're releasing a beer with Howard Street. I don't know when this is coming out. We talked about it on another episode. Again, I don't know the placement of all the episodes, but the Howard Street Pale Ale is either out or coming out. I don't know. Either way, it's a beer that we did with Howard Street. I'm pretty excited about it.
I'm excited about the name. I don't know if we've ever told Dan.
Dan, do you know the name of the beer?
I think you texted to me, but I don't remember. I think it was in like a screenshot of the email with him.
Brandon,
maybe.
Do you want to say the name of the beer?
Sarcasm starts at 10 a.m.
Yeah, it's a quote that because I came in late. I showed up late. Brandon, you were there like 5 minutes to or 10 minutes to. Clark was there like at 9. I was there at like 9:10. I walked in, and Clark was like, "Nope, we're done. The beer's done, or whatever." And then Chuck had said, "Sarcasm begins at 10 a.m."
Yeah.
Something like that. We were trying to find a name for the beer. That when Clark texted that to us, like, it was just perfect. So I'm hoping at some point, depending on when this comes out, to grab a growler of that or a howler of it or whatever, so we can drink it and talk about that beer.
I don't know if he'd be up to it, but we should ask Kevin if he wants to design a logo for it.
It's a good idea. It's a great idea. I'll text him tonight. But anyways, we'll talk about that another time. Dan, welcome to your first St. Patrick's Day episode. This is Clark's. Man, he was on a roll. He had 2 in a row. He's not here tonight. The first one that Brandon and I did, we had to record it twice with all the beers and Bushmills Irish whiskey. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, here we go. Brandon, you curated this. Thank you for grabbing the beers for tonight, and we are again doing this via in our own homes, because it just seems to be easier sometimes. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah,
Brandon, what's the first beer that we're drinking?
So the first beer that we are cracking into is Great Lakes Brewing Company Conway's Irish Ale. And I love right underneath it says product of the USA. Like, do not confuse this as a beer from actually Ireland. There's no other descriptors on the bottle. Oh, no, there is.
I was going to say, if not, I have it pulled up here in front
There's a pint for PA Conway, our co-owner's grandfather.
Conway.
Yeah,
Pa
sorry.
Conway.
Okay, yep. A pint for Pa Conway, our co-owner's grandfather and police officer who'd likely uphold that an Irish ale.
Policeman, what are you reading? Start over one more time.
The label does say police officer.
Oh, does it? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm on the website, and it says grandfather and policeman.
Grandfather and police officer who'd likely uphold that an Irish ale with full-bodied caramel malt flavors is just the ticket.
So the ABV is 6.3%, 25 IBUs. The hops they use are Northern Brewer, Mount Hood, and Willamette, or Willamette, however you pronounce it. Malts are 2 row for the base malt, and then Crystal 77. What the fuck is Crystal 77? So this started being available in January. I've seen it in stores. I don't think I've ever had this. Have you guys ever had this before?
I feel like
I've
I
had
have
it before, I think, but I didn't.
I was about to go before we started. I was going to start looking these all up on Untappd because I know
I found at least the descriptions from the actual web pages for the beers that we are having. But by the way, according to Wikipedia, an Irish red ale, that's what we're having, right? It just is it considered an Irish red ale?
It just says Irish ale.
I feel like it falls under the Irish red ale, so that's what we're going to go with.
If we're looking at the color,
well, I don't know. Well, here's the description of an Irish red ale according to Wikipedia. It's a style of beer that is characterized by its malt profile, which typically includes a caramel or toffee-like sweetness. It has a dry finish, a low moderate bitterness of 15 to 30 IBUs. Due to its sweet taste and relatively low alcohol content, Irish Reds are very popular with American craft brewers. This is not a low alcohol beer.
No,
I don't.
It hits all the other markers, I think, though.
So it's an Irish ale. I mean, really, Irish ales. I feel like an Irish red ales. It's almost like an amber almost. Am I wrong? You guys agree with me on that?
Yeah,
maybe a little hoppier.
Yeah, and I think the sweetness, like an amber ale, almost comes off tea-like.
I could say that this is Irish red ale inspired, which it is because it's not made in Ireland anyway. But
it's got that toffee malty sweetness to it.
Yeah.
It's
so
where
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Where I went to go get these, there's one other beer that we have that is actually from Ireland, and I've never seen it before. And I was like, I'm getting that beer.
Where you got it?
I went to Bottles and Cans in Edgebrook. But yeah, I'd never seen it before. I'm like, well, that looks interesting. So I grabbed that. And they didn't have anything else from Ireland. I don't even think they had Guinness, if I remember correctly.
I don't think they carry a lot of major distributed beers. So we've had Guinness. Did we have Guinness on the first episode? We had to have, right?
Yeah.
We had to have had Guinness. I know we had the mint.
And then we had the barrel-aged one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that your guys's are the same, but it says please enjoy by March 18th, 2023,
Yeah,
Wow.
which is pretty like the day after.
I do like, and I wonder if that's
Is that a
just
joke, you think?
probably. It has to be like I don't know the brew date, and I can't read the codes.
Well, according to their website, it started being available in January, which I did see, and it comes
So
in
that would
bottle
make
and
sense.
can format. So 3
So maybe
months.
like a 3-month. They're giving it an optimal 3-month shelf window, but the
to have it the day
idea of
after
just having it
St.
the day
Patrick's
after
Day.
is like,
Yeah, the fact that it's the day after St. Patrick's Day is kind of funny.
yeah.
Who knows? But I don't think they would take the joke that far to be like Best Buy. You know what I mean?
I've had beers way past the dates and they've tasted fine.
Some IPAs, not so much. Dan, what are your takeaways on this beer so far, as far as aroma, color, taste?
Yeah, so I don't know if it's the color or like the camera, but Brandon's like so much darker than mine. Like I feel like mine looks like a red.
It's probably the camera. I mean, how does mine look?
And it's the glass too. Like
yours looks darker too, but you're in a darker room.
From me, it looks like I'm in the basement, baby. You guys, your glasses look the same to me. It's got like a reddish caramel brownish,
copper, like a new penny kind of
copper. Good call. Oh, a new penny, nice. Very specific.
It's
love the taste.
Very
of
good. I'm getting like it's as Brandon would say, it's a bit nutty on the taste for me, like the malty. I'm getting some.
One fucking.
I know you said the hops, but I already forgot them. I know you said the hops. I already forgot them, but I feel like they're like
it's Northern Brewer, Mount Hood, and Willamette or Willamette, depending on
Willamette.
Yeah,
I think it's Willamette. I could be wrong, but it's like definitely more slightly piney, but like more like I feel like what would be considered even like European hops, like earthy kind of.
Yeah, I think that's the idea with these type of beers, that you want to do like a very traditional European, German style types of hops. And, as homebrewers and as Clark would say, beer professionals, we should know more about these hops. But I don't. I've used Mountain Hood and Northern Brewer and Willamette before, but I don't know their descriptors or where they come from. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't know. I don't necessarily get a nuttiness from it as much as I get like a smooth, like caramel sweetness from it, and it's not roasty. Yeah. It's not like super sweet. I don't get toffee again. I mean, that's going off the Irish red ale descriptor, but yeah, it's pretty solid. Brandon, what are you taking away from this burr?
I feel like I am getting a little bit of.
I like the way you started that, by the way.
I was half like trying to clear my throat and half trying to talk. I do feel like I'm getting some of that caramelness in it a little bit there, and there is a slight nuttiness that I'm getting on the back of my tongue. Like as I'm sitting here talking, it tastes a little nutty. But this is. The fact that I have not checked into this, I feel like I've had this before, but maybe I'm just thinking back to like other like Irish red ales that I've had. This is like super like enjoyable. Like I am enjoying drinking this. I'm not almost. I'm like halfway through. But it's super easy drinking. It does not drink like it's 6.5% roughly.
Yeah,
6.3. Yeah. Super smooth. And the aroma is extremely pleasant, and I'm getting some of the same, like maltiness, nuttiness kind of coming in there. And the hops are very light. So I'm wondering, you said we should know the descriptors, but I don't like, what are those hops? Like, I've never used them. So I'm like, are they aromatic? Are they bittering? Like, cause if they're bittering, they ain't bittering shit, because this thing's only 25 IBUs.
I feel like it's there. I'm gonna look up Northern Brewer.
So I just looked up. You said Mount Hood, right?
Yeah.
So Mount Hood hails from German ancestry in the Hallertau region, but thrives in the Yakima Valley. Aroma hop that imparts spice and floral notes, perfect for many German beer styles. The warm spice aroma works well in a wide range of styles.
Ooh, and Northern Brewer hops are a dual purpose with unique woody, minty notes. This is a signature hop of California Commons, which I can see that here in this beer. With a typical alpha acid of 8 to 10%, Northern Brewer hops are used in the brewing of ESB, bitter, English pale ale, porters, and California steam beers. All right, and then we gotta get the last hop here. Brand, I thought maybe you would look that up. That's okay.
I couldn't remember what it was.
Willamette.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. I have it. I have it here in front of me. So Willamette hops are historically one of the most prevalent hops grown in the United States that accounted for nearly 20% of the hop crop at its peak. Willamette is a daughter of Fuggle. That makes sense.
Fuggle.
Yeah, and carries with the same pepper and spice. It's primarily used as aroma hop. There you go, Brandon. Due to its low alpha acid content, which usually sits around 4 to 6%, works really well with brewing darker styles for the colder months. So there we go. Recommended styles are brown ale, stouts, and porters. Yeah. So there we go. The aroma is mild and pleasant, slightly spicy, according to Yakima Valley.
Yeah, and here's the thing I'll say about like Irish red ales, like. They're seasonal here. They're not seasonal in Ireland.
Is that true? Is that a thing?
Yeah,
I was joking. Sorry.
I mean, from my like understanding, I definitely feel like these are kind of year round beers.
I feel like Killian's Irish Red is year round, right?
Oh yeah,
100%. Isn't Killian's though like a mass produced beer? That's like
commercially now.
Yeah, and like a dyed beer. I remember hearing that.
Oh,
I don't know.
Like it's not like a big.
We had that one on the first one, I think.
Did we?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I do want to say
Did we?
I had so I went to Old Irving last week and with the fam.
Thanks for the invite,
you're welcome.
It's Molson Coors.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I went to Old Irving.
That's Old Irving, not Molson Coors.
Says.
That's not true. They are not owned by most.
I had
sorry, Matthew.
Lucky Lenny.
Have you guys had Lucky Lenny? Yeah, we had that last year.
Yeah, we had it on the live. No, 2 years ago we had it on the live episode. And this is my glass from Old Irving.
I swear we had it. That's a cool one. I think we did it again last year too because
I don't think so.
We ranked them, and that ranked high, and we hung out with Matt like shortly after that.
I think you're thinking about Oktoberfest.
Oh yeah, probably. That sounds about right.
And Matt was there for the second Oktoberfest episode.
Yeah, it all just fucking blends together these days.
Hey, welcome.
But what I was going to say is that one, I looked it up, it says 100% Centennial, but it's like way hoppier than this one.
Absolutely. And I think we did that on the live episode that we got cut off shortly because we not accidentally, but we played some copyrighted music and Facebook was like, absolutely not. You will not be doing that. So that was kind of a bummer. St. Patrick's Day special. That was the live one where we did the Old Irving and the Guinness barrel aged mint. Was that mint? I don't remember if it was mint. I don't care.
I wonder if I had that video somewhere. That'd be a fun like secret release.
Did we ever release the video somewhere?
I don't know. I don't think so. It
was on Facebook at some point.
Yeah,
no, it wasn't.
Bitches. Yeah, it may still be on there though.
Sorry,
Dan.
Last
year,
go ahead.
I was just saying, last year you guys had the Guinness Chocolate Mint, the Hubbard's Cave Irish Stout, the Dicey Valley from Beguile, and the Sagatuck Irish Ale.
What the fuck did we have? Was it just a barrel age? Oh, it was just a barrel age. Oh, sorry, I started playing the episode. It was just a barrel aged Guinness. That's what it was when we did the live one. The mint one, I got it around Christmas and held on to it for us. That's right. Overall, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, fingers crossed that Goose does the Shamrock Shake again.
Don't you?
I still got the one from last year.
Yeah,
we have to do a side by side.
Yeah, we do. That's gonna be awesome. Sorry, Dan, you had said the Lucky Lady was all Centennial hopped.
That's what according to Untapped. So who knows what it is now? But
could be. Last Matthew.
Yeah, it just that one seemed like way happier.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I liked it. Like once I programmed my brain to it, but like when I first had it, I was expecting something more like this, and then like the hops were like so present that I was like, I wasn't thinking this was gonna be this way, so it kind of caught me off guard. But I liked it. Like once I kind of readjusted my brain to like thinking it was gonna be happy.
I'm pretty sure we
drank the beer and I liked it. Sorry, go ahead.
That's good. I'm pretty sure we liked it when we did it. I don't know if Matthew, text us when you hear this episode. Did you listen to that episode? You text us about the Mountain Dew. So Brandon, what's your overall before we get to ratings? What's your overall thought on this beer as I'm wrapping mine up?
Like I said, super enjoyable. I will definitely seek this out again, and I think this may be seasonal for Great Lakes.
Well, yeah, it is.
Dude, next year, like totally, I would like to add this to my rotation of like celebration style beers.
That's actually what I thought of when we started talking about this. I'm pretty sure the three of us have not had this. Not sure about Clark. Clark, have you ever had this? Text me.
He didn't check it in.
Ooh. So probably not. Yeah, I think this is maybe one of the more approachable craft. Actually, I take that back. I don't know. It's an approachable beer regardless. It's very tasty. I'd bring this someplace. Someone having a St. Patrick's Day party. I don't do those that much anymore. But if I got invited to one, I'd bring this to share. Dan, how many?
I'm not having a part. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. I know. I mean, if you did, that'd be...
How many Shamrocks?
I'd show up. Yeah, Shamrocks. We're doing I mean, that just seems like, right? We got to do Shamrocks for this one. Dan, how many Shamrocks?
How many Shamrock shakes are you giving this?
Well, if we had the Shamrock, whatever. Dan, how many
reference?
how many Shamrocks are you giving this one?
I'm gonna go with 4.3. Sounds good to me.
Ooh, I like that.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I like it a lot. Brandon, how many Shamrocks are you giving this?
I actually was just kind of doing my check-in, and I went with 4.25.
All right. If you didn't have to check it in on Untapped, would you have stayed at 4.25, or would you have gone a little higher or a little lower?
I probably right around there. Maybe even a little lower, like 4.1, possibly. I mean, I like it, and it's good because I don't know of. There's not very many other craft beers that we've had that are like good like this. If there are more, I'd like to find them.
I think if we go back to last year's episode, we could probably find one or two.
Well, what's the Dicey Riley? What was that?
It's a great question. Dan, look that up while I give my review. I am probably in the camp of the same as Dan. Excuse me. I'm going to lean more towards the 4.3, 4.35, maybe even 4.4 on this. It's really, I'm a big fan of ambers. I like red ales. This is a very tasty beer. It gives this beer in particular has a nice maltiness to it. It's also 6.5%, which is, you have two of these and you're feeling pretty good. And the hop bitterness isn't overpowering, but it's also still there. So it's a balance of bitterness, maltiness. Smells good to me. It also kind of smelled like Brandon, we talked about this about one of the beers that we had on that episode. New to you, new to me. There's a fresh wort brewed beer aroma to it's kind of bready. Not so much as the Phase 3 beer that you and I had. But there's this breadiness to it that I really like. So yeah, I think I'm probably going to go 4.4 on this. Okay. 4.4 Shamrocks. Dan, lay it on us.
Dicey Riley is an Irish red. There's no descriptor as far as hops and stuff that I'm seeing here, but I do have your guys, or at least Clark and Brandon's. Tony, you didn't check it in.
Clark again
gave it a 3.75, and Brandon also gave it a 3.75.
I would like to think that maybe I was in the same camp, but maybe I'm not. You guys are gonna have to go back to last year's episode and check it out.
But that's the whole problem with styles and things. It's all subjective year to year,
Well, it's subjective also at the point that you're having it.
That
what did you have? What did you have for dinner tonight? That's going to change the way that it tastes.
It's that, and then how are we?
Chocolate stout from Guinness before.
Oh yeah, there you go. But it's also that, and how are we?
We didn't, by the way, Dan.
How,
for sure, his last beer.
How strict are we, or how loose are we being with our check-ins, and are we trying to be more honest? I've tried to do that. I tried to do that last year. So
I'm trying to be more loose as well with my check-ins. how do I really like this? Like, is this a beer that I'd come back to? If it's like super specific, like what is it? The pastrami beer that we did from Pipeworks.
Pastrami on rye.
Yeah, like this year was very subtle compared to what I've had before. So having it now, it was nice. I liked it. It was a nice kind of smoked beer. Um, let's go ahead. I think the best idea is to do the other Irish red ale or Irish ale from Sullivan's.
So the interesting thing about this, now that I just poured it, and maybe it's just the lighting in my room or whatever, but the head on it had like a tinge of red to it, which I thought was pretty interesting. I don't know if you guys are getting that.
I can't in my basement. I'm going to put a light on it right now.
But the beer itself, I'm stealing Dan's descriptor. It was dark AF, because it's compared to the Great Lakes beer. Like this is super super dark,
and it has like a gradient, like from the inside to the outside of the glass. Like I see more red on the outsides, and it's like so dark inside.
It's almost to me, it almost comes off as a lighter brown ale as far as color is concerned.
Yep. Aroma wise, though, I'm kind of getting the same vibe a little bit.
I'm getting
yeah, maybe not. Now I'm going back in.
I'm
getting more sweetness, less hops.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I'm getting like a very sweet. There is like, I don't want to say skunkiness to it because I took a sip and I had a little bit of that, and I think that's just maybe the hops that are in there because we came off the other beer. So I'm just throwing that out there now in the beginning, and that's not my final take on this beer. Also, by the way, Brandon, I did look at the head. I swirled it around. It might just be where you're at because I put a flashlight on it, and it's like a white head on it.
Is anybody else getting a tinge of smokiness out of this beer?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I am.
See that.
Like almost like a roastiness almost.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not so much smokiness as it's roastiness to it.
Yeah, but it's like a deep roastiness for this beer.
I'm going to read the quick description from Sullivan's Brewing Company, which, by the way, they're in Kilkenny, Ireland, located in Kilkenny, in the heart of the city where Irish craft brewing has been a mainstay for over 800 years. Sullivan has fast become a premium Irish craft brewery of choice for beer enthusiasts across the world. And for the Malting's Red Ale, so this is an Irish red ale, a classic ruby ale with deep malt combining rich biscuit and gentle caramel notes. And I will say, I didn't read that when I looked it up. I just looked it up and clicked on it. It definitely has like a bready biscuity-ness to it before I get to the caramel sweet notes of it.
And this one's only 5%, which is...
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel body-wise, this has just a slight more heft to it.
Yeah.
100%.
Which carries a lot of that maltiness, that biscuitiness, like through each sip that you take. Still in the same camp of like the hops they're using are not obviously, they're not overly bittering this beer, but it's shocking that it's only 5% just based on the body and everything else. Like it feels like it should be a little heftier. But
you had said hefty, and that's the way that I kind of feel about this beer. It is a hefty beer. It's not heavy, but I feel like the Great Lakes one was lighter in body and maybe just one you can sit back and throw a couple down, even though it's 6.5%. This one, on the other hand, being 5%, I feel like I want to sit here and drink it and talk with people for a while and then maybe have another one.
Yeah.
Like there's more to it. Like it's actually very nice. Like,
yeah.
That skunkiness, I'm not sure why I got that right away, but I don't have that anymore. It's just a nice, like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, man.
What I was going to say is this This one feels it's going to sit a lot heavier in my stomach.
Yeah. I really like the sweetness to it, actually.
So do I. So this one is more of a sipper for me than the last one. And
100%.
Like if I'm, drinking at the rate that we drink during a podcast, like I'm one and done on this one. Like,
oh yeah, I actually might
save. I mean,
we're also getting close to like the midway point, and we still have another beer to drink. But I think I might save this to finish after the podcast.
Yeah.
Dan, what's your take on this beer so far?
I agree with everything you guys are saying. It's not like a nitro, but it has more of a mouthfeel like a nitro, like that kind of chewy mouthfeel. Okay. Definitely getting less hops than the Great Lakes. I am getting a titch of bitterness at the end, but I don't know if that's like the roast or if it's the hops. But it doesn't hang. It's just like a quick.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm not sure if it's the roastiness or the hops. I want to say it's probably more the hops, just because it's right there at the end. But this is like, people say Guinness, or people who like think that all stouts are heavy, and they say Guinness is like, it's drinking like a loaf of bread. This is like, it's kind of a heavy beer. Am I wrong on that?
No, it is. It has like, on top of the like thick mouthfeel that's going to give you that like perception, it also has like the sweetness and almost a slight syrupiness to me.
Yeah,
like,
but it's not.
It goes down.
To me, it's not off-putting. Is it off-putting to you?
No. I mean, not right now in this context, but like I wouldn't like reach for this all the time, year round, or anything like that.
Sure, but like Brandon said, it's kind of like a one and done, right?
Yeah, agreed.
If I bought this, I would. I wonder if, I don't know if it's a 4-pack or a 6-pack. It's a 16-ounce can that we're drinking out of.
4-pack.
Yeah, a 4-pack of this would be great, because it would be a beer where it's like, oh, okay, we're gonna hang out, or maybe a beer to share. But it's like if you're having one beer, like if you just want to have one beer on St. Patrick's Day or whatever, you're hanging out with people and you don't want to drink like 2 or 3 beers
on St. Patrick's Day.
I know, that's crazy. I feel like having one of these is like, you're right, it's a one and done, because it's a filling beer, it's tasty. There is like a syrupiness to it, but it's not cloyingly sweet. It's not like off-putting to me. I feel like the syrupiness comes from it being sweet and like a full-bodied beer.
So I will flip this though. The difference that I would say is, if I let's just say I happen to find myself in Ireland and I was having a meal. And that meal was, an extended meal where I'm like taking my time eating food. I could probably get through a couple of these, if I was eating food along with it, and, just some other stuff.
I feel like it'd be the opposite for me. I feel like the Great Lakes one, I could get through a couple of them.
I can get through a couple of those just sitting in general,
sitting
on the toilet.
I feel like there it is, everybody. That's the intro to the show. Welcome to the Malting Hour.
I don't know. I just feel, and I'm going back to like when I was in Ireland. Like the amount of Guinness I drank was obscene, but like it was so like fresh and pure, and like there was just something different about it. And I feel like the same thing would like happen with these. Like these are the imported versions, so they're a little heftier usually. It's like the Guinness 4 and extra stout and stuff like that. So I feel like a little bit something else goes into this, so it can make that journey over the pond.
It's love. Love is what happens.
Yeah, possibly. But yeah, I don't know. I could definitely see myself sipping on these for a night.
Yeah, I would.
This would be a good. Sometimes when I'm like watching a movie, or like we're like binge watching a show or something like that, I'll want something to just sip on, and usually I'll reach for like a stout or something like that.
I'm with you on
this. This would be like a good replacement for that if you wanted something a little lighter. Not in terms of body, but in terms of alcohol and stuff. Because usually it's a barrel-aged stout, I'll say.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, because I find myself doing that on the weekends, where it's like, oh, I'm gonna if my wife is going to bed and I want to watch a movie, and I'm like, well, I want to have a beer, so I'll have a barrel-aged stout with like a 2-hour movie and drink it all the way through. This I'd probably get halfway through the movie and then find something lighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's like a candiness to this, and again, sometimes like syrupy, candied, those type of sweetnesses, as far as a descriptor for a beer, is kind of off-putting, but I'm using those as positives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a very interesting beer, and I really, really enjoy it. And like you said, Dan, it's maybe not be the first type of like Irish style beer that I would grab, but coming across it, I would definitely buy it and keep it in my fridge to like have and to share. Like it's kind of a fun beer.
Yeah, I mean, I think you maybe get more. I don't know if I'm necessarily getting toffee, but like that like area of taste.
Yeah,
and I think that is that like it is like a candy sugar, like a burnt candy sugar type. And I don't mean burnt as like a stout would be burnt.
Again, yeah,
like a caramelized candy sugar.
And I feel like the same thing, like what I was saying about like, you know, there's a candy sweetness, it's syrupy. We're not using these as like, not necessarily negative, but it's not, it's like the right way to describe a beer in the most positive light.
I mean, the funny thing is, so it's like I'm getting the sweetness, but it doesn't, I don't know if I want to say it finishes dry, but it finishes leaving me wanting to take another sip. Whereas like sometimes when you have the candy sweetness, like I'm like, ugh, and I'm done.
Yeah, I don't know if this was in the description that Tony read, but like literally the last line on the can says, "Good body with a dry finish." And
yeah, there is. Sorry,
I was reading that, I'm like, it's kind of dry.
Yeah, it is kind of dry because there is like
but
that.
It's kind of not.
Yeah, but it's not like super sweet in my mouth afterwards. There's
Yeah,
like that little lingering bitterness that Dan had talked about. But it's not like super bitter. It's just enough. Like,
yep,
it's a really nice beer. Like it's really good. So let's wrap this one up. Brandon, how many shamrocks are you giving? Actually, Brandon, how many pots of gold? This is so shitty to like
just losing all the Irish listeners.
Yeah, sorry. We do have like at least one listener from Ireland. I'm sorry. We're
how many red-headed
boys? Jesus, what? No, we're not going there. Let's do pots
how many
of gold.
Weasleys?
Oh God, let's do shamrocks again. Brandon, how many shamrocks are you giving this one?
I'm going. I really liked this one. I'm going 4.5. 4.5 shamrocks.
I like it. Dan,
I'm gonna go 4.25. It's just under the last one, and that's just out of like personal preference that I would drink the other one more, but I like this one for what it is.
Okay, so take out and this is not me knocking your rating, like you can totally stand by it. So take out the fact of like what you would drink more of, but like overall as a beer, would you still give it the same rating?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm rating it on an Irish red ale scale.
Okay.
In my head.
Right. I'm gonna go with Brandon and go a step higher to do like 4.65, maybe even 4.7. No. I'll do 4.6. I'll do 4.6 or 4.4. This is serious shit, you guys. 4.59 is where I'm going with this. Okay. Only because like it does kind of like it feels like a big beer, and it's 5%. And there's like this nice sweetness to it. And then there's that like little hot bitterness, and there's this big body to it, but it's not a big beer. So it's kind of fun to have a beer like this. And like you said, Dan, it'd be a nice beer from watching like a 2-hour movie and maybe get like an hour and a half into it. And like, oh, I'm done with this beer. You're not going to sit here and slam this beer. Like I could have finished this beer, but as you guys can see, I haven't, and I haven't even dumped the rest of the can in here. So I still have a bit of this left, and I'm looking forward to finishing it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with 4.59 on it.
Okay.
We got one more beer left. We're very much past the halfway point. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
All right.
everybody. It's our St. Patrick's Day episode, annual. And Dan, it's your first one. Thanks for joining us with this episode. So this next one, Brandon, by the way, thank you again for curating this all these beers for us. Going to Bottles and Cans. Shout out to Bottles and Cans. We'll talk to you guys soon about coming on. We've been doing it for 2 years now. This next one is Breckenridge Brewing's Nitro Irish Stout. Have you guys ever had this?
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I've not, because I don't really care for nitro beers except for Guinness, to be honest. But there's a time and a place for everything. So I'm going to read the description here. It's a classic old world style with a mesmerizing magic of nitro and a colorful Colorado spirit. Hey, three of us, we love Colorado, am I right?
Mm-hmm. Shredding some gnar.
Brewed with roasted Irish barley for rich malty flavor. Our nitro, my phone vibrated. Sorry. Our nitro Irish stout captures the welcoming spirit of adventure that our home state's all about. Sure, man. This is a fucking Guinness beer. You know what I mean? Like, that's the idea. I don't care what they say. This is like Guinness. That's the idea they're going for. You guys, have you gone in for a sniff or a taste?
A little bit of both. It's
I
very.
do want to say on
Sure,
Untapped
go
it
ahead.
says it's 100% Maris Otter. Also, if that means anything to you guys.
Interesting. Maris Otter has been the base malt I've been using lately for my beers. It gives a nice little sweetness to the beers. Interesting. Brandon, what are you getting off the aroma and taste here?
It's very like Nitro Guinness-esque. So if that's what they were going for, which I'm sure they were, definitely nailed it. And it's got that same mouthfeel, that same kind of creaminess. And I'm getting like roastiness in the aroma, and some the malty roastiness. There's a tinge of sweetness in there. It didn't pour like a Nitro Guinness. Right. I tried to look at the can to see, like, they said how to pour it, and I tried to do that. I don't feel like it did just that, but it's great. What I was looking for when I poured it, I was like, oh, is it going to cascade like with the Guinness?
I saw a little bit, but it wasn't like a Guinness you see.
Yeah,
I poured really heavy though.
I poured it in between, and I did not get the cascading. It's got the nice white head that a Guinness has.
Frothy.
Yeah, I will say this: it tastes very much like a Guinness. Mm-hmm. The aroma, though, on it, there's a more of a roastiness to it than I get from a Guinness, almost like a coffee roastiness. I really like this.
I want to ask you guys, because like one thing I like about doing this episode is I don't normally reach for Irish styles.
Sure.
So I don't know if this is a nitro or like an Irish dry stout thing, but it has that smell that I've smelled before where it smells airy, which I know it sounds weird, but it's almost like you're like smelling the ingredients like further away or like through something to me.
Sure. No, I get that. It's not, I feel like it's not super strong. It's almost a subtle aroma. And what I get from that is a roasty coffee. I kind of wish I had a Guinness with me to try side by side, because flavor wise, I feel like it's very much like a Guinness, which I feel like is a compliment, and it's very good. Aroma wise, though, I kind of like it more than a Guinness. I can't pinpoint what I think a Guinness smells like because I don't have it in front of me, but maybe this is what a Guinness smells like. There's a nice, like, subtle, roasty coffee to this.
Yeah,
everybody hold for your thoughts. We give a moment of silence for everybody to think about it. Be like, what did Tony just say? Let them process.
This blew my mind.
Let the listeners process that.
Oh, I think they processed.
We're going to start doing that more often.
Yeah, sometimes it's more about what you don't say than what you do say.
My wife tells me that all the time.
And again, this might be a dry Irish stout. I'm
dry Irish.
missing my words now. A dry Irish stout. Which, did we say what the ABV on this is? It's probably not high, but I don't remember you saying it, and I could. But it tastes like aqueous to me, which like going from the last one to this one.
That's my favorite Dan descriptor.
4.8%.
Yeah, 4.8 and 38 IBUs. Also, it's available year round, much like Guinness.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like aqueous, like on the front of it, and then I get like the nice roastiness, but I don't know.
Yeah,
it's not.
I feel like Nitro does that. It gives you that aqueousness for a beer. I got to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Nitro beers. I like carbonation in my beers. Guinness is the one beer that I like because of that. What is it? Left Hand does their milk stout Nitro. Yep. I prefer it not to be Nitro, but I get why people like Nitro. It does like accentuate certain flavors that the carbonation might change. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mask or alter. But because this is a St. Patrick's Day episode, this is up there with Guinness, man. I mean, like, I feel like this is a solid beer.
Yeah. It's kind of like a mind fuck, like going from the last beer we had that was so thick, and then you like have this like stout that looks so creamy in front of you, and then you like drink it and you're like, oh,
well,
like, it's like drinking water.
See, well, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say water, but I get the aqueousness. I feel like it's just like a light. Is aqueousness a word? It is
sure.
Now. It is now. But it's a light bodied beer, and it kind of like, to me, you know, there's that thought that Guinness is like, you know, drinking a loaf of bread because people feel like that stouts are just so heavy, and we've talked about this before, and everybody should know this by now, that Guinness is one of like the lightest beers you can have. And having this, I feel like it's probably in the same camp. I mean, what do we say? It's 4.8%. Yeah, yep. 4.8. And I think Guinness is what's Guinness's ABV here? Hold on, let me. We don't have.
I think it's like 4.
Clark, goddamn me, Clark.
I'm pulling it up right
4.2.
now.
So it's a little higher than Guinness. This is closer to 5, and regular Guinness is closer to 4. But I could see that. But I think the Nitro is what gives that like light body to it. But it also, for me, because I was introduced to Guinness going to a bar that offered $2 Guinness for a long time. It was $2 Guinness, $2 PBRs. And that's where I fell in love with Guinness, because I was broke and having $2 beers, and I was tipping $2 for every beer because I was expecting to pay $4 or $5 for a beer. Still worked out for my night out.
It's $3 now, I think, and that's still pretty good.
It is, which is still pretty good in Chicago, and I'm sure any place else if you want to get a Guinness. Like, Guinness is fucking expensive, but I mean, getting it for $2 or $3 is fucking awesome. So that's why I would switch back and forth between PBR and Guinness, which is why I fell in love with Guinness. And then finding out it's like a lighter beer, like drinking it so much made me realize it's really not that heavy. It's not that filling. And I feel like this beer encompasses that. It's a really nice homage, I would say to Guinness.
I would agree. I also want to shout out their label art. So it's like a coat of arms, so very like Irish-y, English-y, but then going with the Colorado theme. They have the castle, which is, you know, Irish, whatever, but then they have the skis on the upper left, and then like the mountain on the lower part. I just like that. It's kind of cool.
I feel like this might be the closest you can get to Guinness without having a Guinness.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know like what other breweries do like Nitro Irish stouts that are reminiscent of Guinness. And I've talked about this from time to time, like wanting to brew a Guinness clone. I feel like we definitely need to try that one year. But like, and that's a stout, but one thing we've never done is like an Irish red. So like together.
Actually, yeah, together. Many years ago when by the way, I just found out it's been 10 years. I'm at 10 years or 11 years of brewing now. Mike, my brother-in-law, who's been on the show at least once, he and I, for a kegs and eggs type St. Patrick's Day party many years ago, we brewed. He did a Guinness clone, but he did his own, not a clone, but he did a Guinness style beer, and I did an Irish red ale. and he called his Genius because I was able to go in Photoshop and switch letters around and call it Genius instead of Guinness because look at the letters. And then I did an Irish red ale with the leprechaun from The Simpsons. Sorry, it's still so offensive. But both beers turned out great, and like if you remember, we did. Myke was. I don't know if Myke was on that episode, but we did a pumpkin beer episode where Myke did that style of beer with pumpkin spice. I'm pretty sure he was on that episode.
Yep. Yeah.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
Listening to that.
Like that stout is fantastic. It would be nice to do like a big like brew day with that type of beer to have on tap because honestly, it would be really tasty just to have on tap every now and then because it's a light, easy drinking beer. And I don't necessarily feel like I want to go back to it all the time, but like have 1 or 2 pints and all right, that's good. That was a good, good serving, good pour of that type of beer. Dan?
Like I say, I'm gonna say one more thing is that I feel like this is great for like seasonally. You're in Chicago, you're coming out of the spring, you're hitting March. You still have those like cold snap days where you're kind of like over it all, but it's not, frigid cold.
You want a stout, but you don't want like a big heavy stout.
Right.
I feel that
it's
about
spring
the dry
stout.
Yeah, I feel like that is the best way to describe a dry Irish stout for craft beer drinkers, where you have come, like you said, come out of the winter snap of having these big barrel-aged beers or these big, like, sticky, sweet beers. This is the time of year where I really like to have, like, light beers because we're getting close to spring, and then all these other type of styles are popping up, except for my box. Oh, man, those are so good. But this is exactly what you're saying. Like, it's a good type of stout. I feel like it's very close to Guinness. I would really love to do... because it's year round, it would be nice to get some Guinness and get this and do an after the final pour or malted minis to do a side by side to record this this year. So if you guys can mark this down somewhere in your notes,
that'd be fun.
I'm not going to do it, but it'd be fun to do so. So Dan, how many shamrocks are you giving this beer?
How about you go first? The luck of the Irish. You get to go.
Okay. You know what? Actually, I rarely go first. Because
I'm still trying to place it in my head right now.
No, that's fine. Because of the type of beer that it is, I really love Guinness. I really do. I don't buy it often. And actually, I haven't tried the non-alcohol version of Guinness, and I really should because I feel like NA beers are getting so much better. Like, they're getting really, 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 really good. It's even better. Like, the sour beer that I got from Athletic Brewing, Soul Sour, which I think is like 100 calories, and it's like a nice tart, like juice beer, is still less calories and less sugar than like juice. So I'd rather drink that than juice. But this I'm gonna give 4.6. No, 4.7. 4.7 just being the style that it is, a dry Irish stout, based on that. Not based on my drinking preference. Like I said, I don't buy Guinness all the time, but for a dry Irish stout, I mean, this is like 4.7, 4.75. Like, this is really good. If you're going off of Guinness and this is the next thing, the next best thing, it's damn near perfection.
Can I ask, like, what the 3 we've had tonight, what order you'd put them in?
Sure. And then when you guys rate this, we'll do the same thing. Yeah. I'm going to go with, well, shit, man.
Just in terms of like what you'd want to drink.
This might be the toughest one ever because all 3 of them hit different things that I really enjoy. And they're all 3 really great beers, which, by the way, Brandon, good job. And thank you very much. But if I'm at a St. Patrick's Day party, I'll tell you this. I'll put it in order of how I'm going to drink them. How's that?
Do it.
Does that work?
Yep.
I'm going to go with Great Lakes at number 3. I'm going to go with Breckenridge, number 2.
Like you're having it last, Great Lakes?
Yeah. No. Yeah, no, I'm having that first. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
So, sorry. Let me start that. I'm doing 3, 2, 1, but also the first beer that I made. So I'm doing it reverse like a moron. So number 3 is Great Lakes. But that it's a really good beer. That's the first beer I'm going to start with. The next would be the Breckenridge Dry Irish Stout, because it's very much like Guinness. So it's like, okay, I'm piling it on. I'm a very big believer. A lot of people, I like the idea of going lighter to heavier, even though that the Dry Irish Stout from Breckenridge is technically lighter than the Great Lakes. The Great Lakes was easier to drink. So I'm going to go Great Lakes, Breckenridge, and then the Sullivans to finish the day off of day drinking. Drink 3 beers. That's it. Do a fucking shot of Bushmills and call it a fucking day. And have some corned beef.
All right, Dan, what about you?
Yeah, Dan.
I'm going to give this... I'll do 4.25 again, but it's like way different than the last one. But I can't decide like which of those two I like better. Dry Irish Stout's not my jam. Nitro's not my jam.
Same here.
So,
but you got to rank them now.
Right. No, I mean, Great Lakes is for sure number 1. The other two.
Number 1 is your favorite, as opposed to how I did it for number 3. Correct?
Yeah, I'm not night capping with the Conway's Irish Ale.
Damn it.
But
I didn't night cap with it either. I started with it.
I'm going Great Lakes. I think I'm gonna do the same as you, just because the one is so thick and like syrupy. I just drank it again. Like I just took a sip of it because I had some.
So you're doing the same as me as 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Okay, I like that.
The other one's so thick. I feel like it has to be at the end.
Right, like that's how I feel about like some of those big beers. And sometimes I do like to have a big beer first and then work my way down. I've said that before on this podcast. Brandon, it comes down to you, buddy. What are you rating this beer? And then what's your order?
So I said 4.6 is what I was going to do. I didn't say in my head I did. But 4.6 is what I was going to do. And I've been going back and forth on like how I would like to enjoy these. And I'm in the same camp, man. Like that order seems to be the best order to enjoy these.
All 3 of these beers are very good. They're very good beers. Even if you're not doing like a St. Patrick's Day thing, like all 3 of these beers are very tasty and they're worth a try. And I think that's where I stand on these beers. I mean, I don't know if we've had a St. Patrick's Day episode where we didn't have good like Irish beers. We've been pretty honest about, beer styles. This is what, episode 1,000,005.
Somewhere around there.
I think it's like 104, 105. But this is our 4th, St. Patrick's Day episode. And I was hesitant about doing it. And then Brandon, I was glad you brought it up because, there are a ton of this actual, what you put together reminds me that there are, styles of these types of beer from different breweries, or these types of beers from different breweries that we haven't tried. And they're really good. Like, I feel like all 3 of these, everybody should give a try. And you will definitely find one that you're like, oh, this is the one for me. This is the one that I would really enjoy. But I think that the Sullivans, that's the one that I'm gonna sip on and wrap up the night with.
Ooh,
oh, yeah, this is good. Except we have an after the final pour we got to do. So with that being said, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Thank you again for listening. Remember to, I hate saying this, like, subscribe, rate, do all that dumb shit that you're supposed to do. And thank you everybody.
Share.
Yeah, that too. Thank you everybody for continuing to listen, and everybody in Ireland who we may have offended. We really do apologize. I mean, look at America. We're trying to be better. Oh, the 3 of at least the guys in the podcast here. We're trying to be better. I can't say anything for anybody else, but. Let's not get into politics. Brandon, I love you, man.
Love you too, bud.
Dan, welcome to your first St. Patrick's Day episode, man.
Thanks.
We love you, Dan.
I was trying to think of something like Irish to say, but I got nothing.
Don't do it. Don't. We already apologized to the Irish.
Don't throw us into that.
I am Irish.
It doesn't matter. If you don't have anything to say, like right off the bat, like it doesn't matter.
Now, if you spoke in Gaelic, that'd have been fucking mind blowing.
Yeah, fucking I.
But you blew it.
Got nothing.
You fucking shit the bed on that one, dude.
Dan right.
Damn right.
All right, bye everybody. See you next week.
Bye.
This has been The Malting Hour. Be sure to follow us on all social media by searching The Malting Hour and at themaltinghour.com. You can also follow us individually on social media. Brandon can be found on Instagram as BMDub81, on Twitter, BDub81, and on Untapped as BDubDrinksBeer. Tony can be found on Instagram and Untapped under Ace of Help Chicago, on Twitter, The Ace of Help Chicago. Clark can be found as Clarkowski on all three. Dan can be found on Instagram as hip__hops and hip hops on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe, like, and rate the show on your preferred podcast listening platform. Until next time, cheers from all of us at the Malting Hour.